you started with just the normal marijuana, and then one day someone laced it. Did you know it was laced?
I knew.
And so you did it on purpose?
I knew.
You thought you were stronger than the
I
drugs?
thought I was stronger, and I thought I was smart. I was like, people who get addicted are actually dumb. My mom is the first person I loved most at that time, and still up to date. And if she would have had maybe an accident or had a problem that was serious, and I was high on that substance, particularly the cocktail of heroin and marijuana, I would say I wouldn't care. This one day, my mom came, she caught me and took me to Utawika. She came behind in a taxi cab, and then they stopped, and all of a sudden I felt somebody grabbing my arm like this, and it was my mom. I started now fighting with her. I remember I told her, if you leave me here, I will hate you for the rest of my life. So we went to live together. The next morning I was nowhere to be seen.
She woke up and you're gone.
There are people that have predisposed genes of addiction within their body and their system.
They have addictive personalities.
But they did not have a say in this. It's not their will, it's the way they were created. Their biological structure is put together. If you encounter that person and then you criminalize them, does it mean you criminalize sickness? To be honest, you cannot prescribe prison to patients.
How young should a child be, do you think, to start hearing that message against drugs?
11.
This is the very best. I introduce the very next. Big deal, you know this is the big league. Sanga mumihanda ya chigari make a big fish. Word on the street turakaze. Habari gani mumeze mte. Utashimi mana kuva honda muchiye. If you want the long form, come close and rabble. Wait, what?
The long form.
What did he say?
The long form.
What?
The long form.
The long form. The long form. Most conversations around drug addiction are framed as being about bad choices, weak discipline, and broken people. This one is not. The guest this week on the Long Form podcast is Steve Khald Maridadi, a Rwandan filmmaker, theater director, and storyteller whose work interrogates memory, trauma, and healing. Before the films, before the activism, Steve became addicted to heroin and crack cocaine. This addiction almost cost him everything. In this conversation, we trace his life before drugs, the conditions that pulled him into addiction, what rock bottom actually looked like, and the brutal process of recovery. This is not only a personal story, it's a window into how addiction actually works in Rwanda and across Africa. We ask hard questions about stigma, criminalization, public silence, government failure, and whether or not a drug-free society is a serious goal or simply just a comforting illusion. This conversation is brought to you by Akagera Medicines, a biotech company that is majority owned by the Rwandan people. Akagera Medicines is not only committed to expanding access to healthcare, but also supporting conversations that inform, educate, and empower. Learn more about Akagera Medicines by scanning the QR code on your screen or by visiting their website at akageramedicines.com. Hey everyone, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you who've been a part of the Long Form journey. Every view, comment, and subscription has helped us grow and get to where we are today. But here's the thing, about 72% of the people who actually watch this podcast haven't subscribed yet. We want to keep bringing you even bigger conversations with even bigger guests, including, let's say, even the president of this country. But this milestone starts with you. Subscribing is free, but it makes a huge difference. It shows our guests that what we're building here matters and that it's worth their time appearing on my platform. So please help us and hit that subscribe button and we'll promise to keep delivering powerful, meaningful conversations. Thank you so much. Now, let's get into the episode. Steve,
Yes.
welcome to the Long Form Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Very often when you think about drug addiction and the people who suffer through that sickness, which it actually is, it's a sickness, their story starts when they are sick. But human beings are not just one thing. They are the before, the during, and the after.
Complex, yeah.
So let's talk about the life that you lived before drugs ever entered your life. I'm talking about how you were psychologically, how you were socially, how you were emotionally. What part of your lived experience before you ever met the very first drug made you vulnerable to the addictions that you then suffered from?
I honestly think it's not one thing. It's a combination, a collective of things that maybe subconsciously or unknowingly that led to there. But I wouldn't say that I had a bad childhood, a very bad childhood. It was a pretty decent childhood. Went to school, got beaten, and kind of thought that the way of resolving conflicts in my life was through the canes and violence and all of that. But it was pretty much common for most of the kids of my age. You either do things or either you are beaten, which is not, it's decent. I went to school. I was in boarding school for like 6 years of my secondary school, right? That was like the moment before I went into addiction. I was in a confined space, if I would say. It's a controlled environment where I don't have pretty much access to different cultures, conversations, things. Most of the times, people would tell you, if you try this, you'll die. That's how I thought in my head.
So let's talk about that. When you talk about your childhood and how it was normal, the movie version of drug addiction is, this is a person who was traumatized and then they went into addiction. But it sounds like what you went through was just a normal childhood within the Rwandan context, right? So there is a bit of a few beatings here and there, whether in school, whether at home, but it doesn't sound like you went through this horrible, traumatic experience as a child that then led you to this.
I wouldn't say that I went through something specific that was horrible that led to this, where I wanted maybe to self-medicate or anything. So it was more of like a decent childhood. And a lot of people think that for somebody to use drugs, they must have been through something really hard, or they must be people who completely forgot about themselves, who do not care about themselves and all of that.
Or even parents who maybe abused you, or you went through.
Yeah. Or growing up around people who do drugs, for example. My parents have never touched anything that is related to drugs or opioids or anything like that. Personally, nobody was smoking at home, for example. Nobody.
Not smoking cigarettes, you mean?
Not even cigarettes. Nobody at home was smoking.
So it like I said, the idea of these things is that that's what you kind of tell yourself as a parent, is that if I raise my children as best as I can with the least amount of trauma as I can, then addiction will not happen to them. Listen, I know just how annoying it is when, just in the middle of a really interesting conversation on YouTube, an ad appears. That frustration is why we've created the Longform Patreon. For just $4 a month, you can enjoy ad-free listening, early access to conversations a full day before they're publicly released, and you're directly supporting the work that we do here. Every episode takes time, research, and sometimes plane tickets. We don't do it for money. We do it because we genuinely believe in sharing stories and conversations that matter. If you want to be part of that journey, you can join the Longform Patreon by scanning the QR code that you can see right now on the screen or using the link in the description. And if membership is too much of an investment, you can still support us by making a one-time donation via our MTN Momo using the code registered under LF Media 95462. Thank you so much for believing in what we do.
Yeah, that's what a lot of parents think until it knocks on your door. Yeah, a lot of parents think that if I do my best, if I don't introduce them, if I try also to scare them about it and be like, if you try this, you're going to die. You're going to be like that person. You're going to be like this. And all of that, maybe I'm protecting them or I'm shielding them. And we forget that behind you parenting, there is a whole individual that is independent somehow in thinking afterwards when they are not around you. So that leads to them, because they were not prepared for the word that maybe they got into. And most of the times they're not even told honestly what are drugs and how do they function. Because, for example, in the cultural context of Rwandese, I don't know any parent that told their children that if you try drugs, they're going to feel good, but you're going to regret it later. But in reality, that's what happens. And the first thing they tell you is that if you try them, you're going to die. And I tried them and I did not die, but maybe a lot of things became really worse instead. So that's why I think that being a parent and doing all your best cannot shield you or shield your children from the consequences of the epidemic. Because to me, addiction and drug abuse is an epidemic. You cannot deny that it's an epidemic. However, a lot of people try to make it a problem of an individual. It's something that we should combat as the whole community. Because otherwise, it's going to be one addict in the house and the whole family has to heal, but the whole environment also has to be taught.
So you were born in Rwanda.
Yep.
How many years ago?
26 years ago.
26 years ago. So
1999, yeah.
Right. So you are the generation that came after the 1994 genocide. Your parents put you through school, tried to give you the best childhood that they could.
Yeah, true.
Then how did the young Steve, who had been protected from the world, how did he then, he's been raised with his parents, he's in boarding school, so he's very, very, very shielded from the world. Then how does that Steve then, only a few years later, end up being a person who is battling addiction to heroin, to crack cocaine? It doesn't see it almost seems like every parent's nightmare.
True.
How does it happen? How are you one day in senior 6, good boy, according to our judgments as parents, you're a good boy, you've done well in school. Now it's about time to go to university. How did that go wrong? What was the path that took you to that place?
I think for me, it was, I call it inverse metamorphosis. It's more of like I was this kind of innocent kid and who just got out of high school with good grades, never repeated a class, always went to schools that I was sent to and in boarding. And that kind of a kid, you would think that it's someone who is really, really smart. But what I realized later was that that kid is not smart. It's just not introduced. It's not being influenced. It's not being introduced to anything. So when I went to Kampala, I was confined. I would call it the environment itself.
So your parents sent you to come to Kampala for your
university. Yeah. So I went to Kampala for university. Now things were different. I was like,
was that the very first time you had been
in Kampala
out on your own?
Yeah, true. It was the first time, and I had never lived outside of my parents' compound. Let's say, never.
Other than boarding school.
So
it was boarding school to my parents'
house, exactly. So what happened was I went now to Uganda, and there I had to do everything now on my own. I control myself, I cook for myself, I live by my own, I organize my things. If I'm to go to class, come back home, like everything now was on me. Nobody's taking care of me anymore. Nobody's warning me about nothing. It's just me versus Kampala, if I would say.
Do you think you are ready for that? Here's a question. What are your secrets worth? And how far will you go to protect them? Every day, tens of thousands of hacked credentials for emails, social media, and other services are bought and sold on the dark web, all without victims suspecting a thing. If you're like me and desire some peace of mind, Threat Informant is for you. Built by ShieldTech Hub, a cybersecurity company, Threat Informant is a dark web monitoring online solution that allows you to search the deep web for hidden markets, detect your leaked data, and react before any damage is done. And here is the best part. It's available for government agencies, businesses, and individuals like myself. It's simple. If your data is out there, Threat Informant will let you know. So take control of your digital safety today and scan the QR code that you can see on your screen, or click the link in the description to sign yourself and your entire organization up. You cannot protect yourself if you don't know you're under threat. Get Threat Informant today.
I wasn't, to be honest.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't equipped. Maybe I was ready to study, but everything else that was around, I wouldn't say that I was equipped to handle that.
How old were you then?
I was 18, 19.
18, 19, wow.
That's
no, because when I
yeah.
think about myself as an 18, 19-year-old, we were living in a time that was not as complex as this, right? The worst thing that we had was cheap waraji.
Okay.
That was really what we were on. And I remember myself at 18, 19, and I think I'm a pretty intelligent person. I would have not been able to also survive fully as an independent person in a big city. Because Kigali is even now it's quite a small city. It has a small city vibe. Yeah, right. True, people know you. True. You know, they know where you're coming from. They know that you're someone's child, and maybe the community will take care of you and help you become a fully fledged human being. But it seems that in your case, they got this 18-year-old, barely adult, and sent him to Kampala. Was it Kampala International University?
Yeah, KIU, yeah. Right above the junkie houses. Right above.
The junkie houses, wow.
Yeah, it was I would say it was really, really crazy now that I think of it. I was too excited when I went there, and of course I wasn't excited about the school alone. I was excited to try a lot of different things, you know. And as you say, it's a big city, and you would think that it means more community, yet it means big city, more individuals. Like you find everything is about you. If you are not careful, you get left behind, and the city will keep moving. That's how it went for me, I would say, because I was just this kid who just came from Kigali to Kampala to study, and all of a sudden, a few months later, you just want to try the clubs, you want to try the waraji, you want to try going out at night, because I had never had that before in Kigali. I had never tried even alcohol, let alone the hard opioids. So I would say that kind of thing elevated. I was graduating so fast in terms of usage and experiences
and graduating in terms of like experiences and saying, you know what, today I tried this, it's almost like it's almost like Kampala was a buffet of experiences, and you wanted to eat your fill.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yesterday I tried this, today I'm gonna try something else, until you try something you never thought you would try.
So walk me through, people imagine addiction as a sudden fall, right? So you were a good kid, now you're a bad kid. You were sober, now you're not sober. It's, people imagine that it's a
snap.
But often it's as you said, it's a slow slide.
Yeah.
First you're going out, then you're having
you don't even realize it's that bad.
Having drinks, then you're doing this, and then you're doing this, and then finally you find yourself in a place that you probably did not even expect to be.
True.
So I would like to ask, what were the exact conditions? We've talked about, obviously, your youth. You've talked about the fact that you were not really exposed to different stimuli, so your brain just wanted to enjoy life in its fullness. And we've talked about the fact that Kampala is that kind of place where you actually find these things.
They're accessible.
And they're accessible. Yeah. But beyond those things, what were the conditions mentally, socially, emotionally, that turned the experimentation, which is normal for a young person to experiment, but what were the conditions that turned that experimentation into full-blown dependency?
Okay. I would say what happened was, because you're experiencing in real time, you don't realize the consequences, because you're doing the things usually or often, I would say, every day. And then you don't realize how bad it is. You're like, you still think, because even when you're using, days pass so fast. You don't even realize. There was a point where I couldn't tell if it's Monday or if it's Sunday, to be honest. It was just a day. It was a morning, it was a night, and then they did not have names. That's it. And that was because they give you this kind of euphoria where everything else around you does not matter. Your success, your family, your education, your money, your belongings, everything else around you, that does not matter. I would say opioids are selfish partners. They consume you, and they're quite jealous when you don't consume them, I would say. So what happened was, because I was using, and of course it did not start by the opioids themselves. It started by
so people who don't know opioids, because this might be a conversation that about things that no one has heard about.
Drugs are in classes: heroin, crack cocaine, fentanyl. All of those are types of opioids.
They come from opium.
Opium, yeah. And marijuana itself, cannabis, is not even an opioid. It's not in class of opioid. But I did not go straight to the opioids. it started with of course trying the ganja in Kampala. You know, it's the vibe in Gaza.
The marijuana.
Yeah, the marijuana in Kampala, and then there was this thing they could do where they kind of take like a piece of marijuana and just lace it a little bit with heroin.
So lacing it is adding a little bit.
Adding a little bit.
Why?
We would call that cocktail.
Why?
It was because it gave you more height. It gives you more euphoria. It would give you more the feeling of, I would say, happiness, if I would say, because you laced it with a little bit of heroin, what they call mugo here. So what that's how it started. It started when we were like mixing the marijuana with a little bit of heroin.
One of the conversations, and I'll be really interested in hearing your take on this. One of the conversations that we often have, or I've seen among young people is, or even among old people is, one, marijuana is not a problem, right? So some people will say that, you know, it's okay. When we're talking about the criminalization of marijuana and all these things, you'll have a certain segment of people saying, you know what, it's just a vegetation, smoking it is okay, it doesn't lead to addiction, it maybe even helps with insomnia, it helps with appetite, it has a lot of benefits to it, and they say criminalizing it is an issue. Then there are going to be other people who say that marijuana should be criminalized because it's what they call a gateway drug, where it's a substance that
opens the door.
That opens the door to all these other addictions. Because you're not just a participant in the conversation, you were someone who was in that fight. What is your viewpoint on that topic with the criminalization, marijuana? How is it a gateway drug? Is it a substance that we need to maybe understand a bit more about, or even understand the psychology of users a bit better?
Yeah, I will put it in two ways. I don't believe any drug should be criminalized. Any drug. This is not about marijuana itself. Any drug, because these things are available, and we are creatures that are made of experiences that feed on experiences. But I would come again and say there is no drug that is safe for you. Substance, let alone drug, any substance, even if it's alcohol, it can be a gateway to other things. But when it comes to marijuana, I would say it's because to people that smoke, that prefer to smoke, it is, yes, a gateway, because it's pretty much hard to find somebody who went straight
to heroin
that is smoked without first trying marijuana. And then that's when you realize that heroin is better, because I would say it's not actually better, it's worse. I would say it's worse. But the heights, that's how you realize that the heights are bigger, because you have something to compare it with. So that's why I would say marijuana is not safe. If you're taking it, please seek help if you want to. However, of course, heroin is way much worse. But yes, any drug can be a gateway to much worse things. Not even, it's not even the drug itself. It's also even heroin. Using it while you lace it or you mix it with marijuana can be a gateway to get to a point where you're injecting, where you are using aluminum foil, which was the stage where I was at. And that carries its own bigger risks when it comes to overdoses, people are kind of giving each other different STDs and all of that.
So, like you said, you started with just the normal marijuana, and then one day someone laced it.
Yeah, true.
Did you know it was laced?
I knew.
And you
I
did
knew.
it on purpose.
I knew.
You knew what it
Yeah,
was.
I knew.
What were you trying to seek? What were you trying to find?
It was, to be honest, I was on a rampage of experiencing, if I would say. I was on a rampage where you're trying different things to see what works and what doesn't work. Because I had tried alcohol, water juice, and tomorrow morning you wake up with hangovers, and I was like, this one is not that good. I tried marijuana, and then I would get some sort of paranoia and all of that. And then there was this guys. Of course, it comes with acquaintances and the people around you who were lessing it, and they looked pretty fine. They looked pretty normal. I was like, it's like we're even smoking the same thing. Why not try what they're trying as well?
Why didn't you so help me understand this, right? So you started with alcohol. You realized I don't like the effect on me. Then you went to marijuana. You smoked it, and then you realized I do not like this effect on me. It makes me paranoid. It's giving me paranoia. I don't like it. Why didn't you stop?
To be honest, I would say you try shoes and see what fits. That's because I was pretty much super young to not realize that there would be consequences by trying even harder things. Because obviously I was taught that if you try drugs, you will die, and I tried them and I did not die.
So you were not educated in any way, in any form, to what these substances were. So you were walking into this fight of your life with no knowledge.
True. Apart from the campaigns, of course, everybody sees the campaigns, but they are packaged also in a way that it's meant for the public use, not an individual, so that decentralization of the message is not there.
So that the message, so obviously, so that means you did receive the messages from whether it's the government or this. But it did not. The messages did not touch you.
Did not touch me. Yeah, true. They did not touch me. That's why I was like still experiencing even one after one. But it wasn't more like I do not like this. I do not like this. I do not like this. I was like, let me also test this as well. How does this test? How does this test? Because I had realized that people, they had said that if maybe, for example, you try, that was the information that I had, that if you try marijuana, you will die, or else you're gonna get hooked. And I tried marijuana and I was like, I did not get hooked. I could skip days. Sometimes people would be smoking around me, they passing around, and I'm like, no, I'm good, and all of that. So I was like, obviously, there is no drug that can control me. I thought I was smart.
You thought you were stronger than the
I thought
drugs.
I was stronger, and I thought I was smart. I was like, people who get addicted are actually dumb. You know, that was the
I'm in university. I've done well.
Yeah.
I come from a good family.
Exactly.
It cannot happen to me.
It cannot happen to me. I never thought that it would be me. Out of all the people, no me. Because I have seen people that it had happened to, and I would say that maybe they were not strong enough. They were not even. I think the part of strength wasn't even there at that time in my head. At that time, they were dumb. They were like, how can you manage to control a substance? Just stop. It's like if they tell you Coca-Cola is bad, just stop it.
Yeah.
If tea is bad, just stop it. You know, today I don't want to eat this food, so I don't eat it. I thought it was that way until I realized that this is not actually something that comes along. It's a package that has spiritual, emotional, and also it kind of creates a shield from both the problems you're creating for yourself and the problems created by others.
And that's addiction and drugs, you mean?
Yeah, addiction and drugs. So that's how my journey went. It wasn't anything like I was introduced to hardcore drugs without first trying these small drugs. It was
a journey.
It was a journey, and the higher you set the bar, the more the consequences, of course. Yeah.
So that day in your life where you take the very first, I guess, hit or drag of the the marijuana laced with
The
heroin. Walk me through that day and walk me through how it felt.
So to be honest, it lasted longer, the euphoria. That feeling.
What does it feel in your brain?
You feel at ease. I tell this to all the people and they don't understand me. I would say my mom is the first person I loved most at that time, and still up to date. And if she would have had maybe an accident or had a problem that was serious and I was high on that substance, particularly the cocktail of heroin and marijuana, I would say I wouldn't care. It gives you this ease. It gives you relaxation, the kind of feeling classes do not matter, family issues do not matter, finance does not matter, nothing matters right now. That's why I kind of think that because I felt that way in that moment, it kind of made me want to stick to it.
Because it's because if you think about it, I guess you're still in university, so right, so you're dealing with all these pressures and new city and friends and activities, and then all of a sudden you meet this substance that brushes all of that away.
True. But before the marijuana, before I less it or I mix it with the marijuana, I had tried crack cocaine before.
Oh wow.
Like after the marijuana, I tried crack cocaine.
Hold
but
on.
Crack cocaine,
that's a bit of a it's a bit of a jump.
Yeah. Cuz crack cocaine was it was cheaper. It was cheaper than
so you jumped straight
than the real cocaine.
So you jumped straight from
marijuana to crack cocaine.
Where do you even find these things?
I would tell you, they are accessible by like the place where the hostel where I was living. I was surrounded by at least 3 junkie houses in at least 5 minutes.
And where you're staying was a place in Kampala called what? Kansanga?
It's in Kansanga. It's in Kansanga. It was Kansanga Nabutiti. So I was staying in Nabutiti. My hostel was in Nabutiti. And then by Kansanga Market, there was a junkie house right beneath the campus, KU. There was a junkie house. And if you come up to Kabaragara, there was also another junkie house.
Where are you getting the money to buy all these things?
I was funding myself, like the pocket money. Of course, you don't even eat as healthy or anything because you are spending that money. Or if the money the money finishes, you have to call at home and be like, "Yo, I need to buy this thing for school," and then invest it there. I think that's how I was funding the addiction initially before, and. What happened was, after the marijuana, there were the friends that I was introduced to that were living, because we were at the campus and there were the junkie houses right beneath the campus.
Were the
campus.
friends that you were with, were they Rwandans? Were they Ugandans? Was it a mishmash of all nationalities?
It was like an international community: Sudanese, Eritreans, Burundian. There were also an Ethiopian guy. And the funny thing is that out of all the people that I initially shared the drug with, there was no Ugandan. It was more like the Ugandans were, because those were like the people you would feel safe to go to because they were also international students. So we were like, I would say, it's like trauma bonding, sort of.
You
It's
miss
like,
all of you miss home.
yeah,
you
we miss home. We kind
so
of
you come together.
We were trauma bonding, and then they did not even look like drugs, to be honest. They were beautiful ladies, and they were good boys, and we were all youth, and we were not as worse. It was like we tried things kind of at the same time. It's just that there could be in the group somebody who was always ahead of us and introduces something else. But we tried literally a lot of drugs. There were a time where we're even popping benzexos. It's like,
what are those?
These are like the pills they give people who are not mentally, who have mental illnesses, and then you mix it with cold, like really cold water, and some people could even hallucinate and all of that. We could pop tramadol, we could do codeine. Those are different drugs that I had tried, and I did not. I was like, these are enough for me. I don't like that.
I'm so amazed by, the level of experimentation.
Yeah.
As young people, the level of experimentation that you guys were doing. I'm still fascinated about the drive to experiment, right? What was that thing that just kept driving you? Is it just you wanted to feel good?
It was a mixture of both, but it was also, I would then say that it's to feel good, because there are some drugs that I tried and they did not feel good. They felt weird, to be honest. I felt like uncomfortable instead. I think it was more of lack of knowledge. I will emphasize on that. Honest knowledge or education about the drugs and how they function in your body, and to be honest about how they're gonna make you feel, but also highlight the consequences in the long run. I would say for me it was lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're in that time, the age that I was in, you get rebellious. Of course, I'm getting into, I'm close to my 20s, and I am now independent, I would say, in terms of where I live. I'm a man. I thought that I knew better now, that I can go do anything unpunished, if I would say. So that's why it was like going like that. So I had tried all of those different drugs and substances that were being put on the table by the acquaintances that I was with, where we even trauma bond, and we are like, we start even talking about maybe things that happen to us and all of that, things that do not even make sense. You make a whole big deal out of it because you want to smoke for it. So it was more like that. But I would say for me, it was just marijuana that I tried more than, let's say, thrice or 4 times. And it was followed by crack cocaine, because pure cocaine is expensive. So they just mix some cocaine with some baking soda and they make it a rock so that it can be either.
So it's like
a
piece. It looks like a piece of what? Sand, a piece of chalk.
Chalk, like a piece of chalk, but make it tiny, it depending on the size that you are buying. It was, of course, expensive, more than heroin.
Do you remember how much it cost?
Yes, I do. I do. Half a gram was
Half a gram would be
quarter.
what?
I think
a
a quarter was.
teaspoon? What? How does half a gram?
It was tiny. Oh my God! I'm losing. Like it was. You see this piece of my nail?
Yes.
This is like a quarter. Like this was like actually a gram, if I remember well. And there would be half a gram. That was too tiny, and there was a quarter. And a quarter was 25 Ugandan shillings.
25 or 25,000?
25,000.
And at the time, maybe that was about
like 6,000.
7,000 francs. Yeah.
Yeah, around there. And you could smoke that in just one, if like, depending on the size of the group, because if we were like 6, 7, 9, that wouldn't satisfy you. So you could go for maybe a gram, and a gram was it 60? Was it 80? I don't remember well.
So around 20,000 francs.
Yeah, around there.
And that would be shared with 6, 7 people.
Yeah, and you finish it. You finish it in a few minutes. Because one of the reasons why I did not like crack, it was because it would give you paranoia. Like it gives you intense highs, more than intense euphoria, more than relaxation, more than heroin. But then it doesn't stay long. It's like after 30 seconds, you come.
And how
like
does, so the
down.
high is, you said it's like feeling like nothing matters in the world.
Nothing
and
matters.
You're super
Nothing
relaxed.
matters. Like you're holding your breath, everything. You feel like you're floating.
You're floating.
You're flying.
So
something
then
like
how
that.
does the crash
And
feel?
then one dangerous thing about it that was even, I right now when I look at it, is the way it like drops you. It's like you go from 100 to 0 all of a sudden. So you feel like now you're depressed, you know. Now you go in, you come from that relaxation in a matter of like a minute or seconds. Now you fall into something of like this, I would say, this hole of depression, darkness, thinking about yourself, thinking about who you used to be, and also the resources you've just wasted right now, for example.
So it's almost like
you're consuming it.
It's almost like an immediate wake up.
Yeah, an immediate wake up, but then you self-medicate it. You stay. I saw people, myself, that like, I am glad I wasn't a crack junkie. I saw crack users standing up straight. They're using this person, and then maybe he smoked like 100K Ugandan shillings or 120 in that particular time, and we could scratch the bong, the thing that we were using to smoke it, and they scratch it. They smoke even what we used to call collection, which was the things that is mixed inside, the plastic mixed with the leftovers of the crack and the cigarette ashes we could put on the top. And after smoking that, they would go straight, stand up, go straight, and the car just runs over them. Like
They die
straight up. Or somebody stands up and they go and they hit their head on the wall, like straight up, because of the intensity of the paranoia and all of that.
Jesus.
Depending on how heavy your problems were for you to now handle them, a lot of people would just have like that I would say a psychosis moment where they just like feel like they run mad, the paranoia. It would give you crazy paranoia.
And because it obviously happened in front of you.
Yeah, it did.
And you saw these things. Why did it not scare you enough to run home, to call your mom, to call your father and say, you know what, get me out of this?
So the truth is, I would say that, first of all, if I would have saw that when I was using just the marijuana, I think I wouldn't have continued. But there is this thing where people who use entreaty. They call it entreaty in Uganda. That's heroin. And the crack cocaine, opioids. People who use opioids are stigmatized and are also some ghettos do not like junkies because of the behaviors. All of those behaviors. They also have some other the shabbiness, stealing, all of that.
When you talk about ghettos, for people who don't understand, those are just slums.
Yeah, those are slums. There are slums. So these were people who are with the marijuana, you're good. But I never saw a place where they smoke marijuana, conk marijuana. I never saw people from that particular group mixed with people who smoke heroin. However, people who smoked heroin, they could abuse everything that is less just to self-medicate, but they couldn't mix. So if I would have saw that before I tried or I went to the ghettos of heroin or the places where they're smoking the heroin from and the crack cocaine, I think I wouldn't have tried it, to be honest, because it was scary. It was scary, to be honest, but then what is being scared if you're not even aware of what's happening? Like,
you're not feeling anything.
Yeah, like somebody, I remember there was this woman, she had like recently had a baby, and then the baby died from the withdrawal symptoms.
Wait, what do you mean? So she had been pregnant while she was
using,
addicting. Okay.
And then she gave birth in the ghettos where we were smoking from. It was
like you were there, you saw it.
I wasn't there when she was giving birth. Like, we were there when she was pregnant. She went to give birth. She came back to the ghetto with her baby. And then I remember that there was this time she skipped to like breastfeed her. They gave her like the usual milk and all of that. And then the baby died. And then I remember her getting out of that door, carrying the baby in a box, and she was completely emotionless, like completely. And we were also there. I wasn't shocked in that moment because I was pretty much high on heroin. I was like, oh, so your kid died. And I remember she wanted to drop the kid somewhere like around there, and all junkies were like, mutwale, like take your baby somewhere else. Like, they did not even care or grieve or have pity for her, but she did not even also show any emotion, like crying or anything. And the guy that was living with her, it was pretty much the same. And when I reflected on that afterwards, or when I could be sober and think of that, that's when I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna be the same. Like, to be honest, like, I've already grieved the Steve of secondary and before I was introduced to the heroin, because how do you see something like that and then go on to live like it never happened? And then I was living like it never happened until reality hit me, and I was like, oh my God, did that really happen in front of me? So that's why I was saying, if I would have saw all of those traumatic experiences,
you would have probably stopped immediately.
Yeah, because it was scary. It was scary. I think one of the reasons why I quit was also because I was tired of like seeing my friends die, overdoses, beatings. We called it hustling. You go around and you're stealing, and you met you mess with bad people, and then you suffer the consequences. That's when I realized that, this is very, very crazy.
You've shared some really scary incidences, but I want to go back to the journey, right? So you do the marijuana, then you do the crack cocaine. You realize, okay, I don't like this crack cocaine. Then you go to what you'd said was the cocktail of the heroin.
I wouldn't say that I did not like the crack cocaine. It was wasn't just because I did not like it. It was because first and foremost it was more expensive, and the heights could not stay long. So it was more of,
So there's no problem with the height.
there was no problem with the heights.
It was
The problem with longevity
and the cost.
and the cost as well. And that's how I got introduced now to heroin, because these guys were an epic for 3-4 hours, and I was like, you guys, I need to try that and see if
Yeah, you saw your friends be in that state of highness
yes,
for a long time.
yes, for a long time. And it was cheaper. A pack, you would even get a pack of 2,500 Ugandan shillings, 5,000 Ugandan shillings. You get a pack that you would split in two. So that's how this time, because it was scary also to use the aluminium foil, like, because most of the people that I was around were using aluminium foil, where
Aluminium foil for what? For the crack.
to use heroin. To use heroin, they use aluminium foil. It's like you get this silver aluminium foil, get a pipe, make a pipe out of another aluminium foil, or use a pen, or use straw or something like that. But mostly they could use the aluminium foils also to make the pipes, because they wouldn't burn easily. And they just put the heroin above, and they burn under, because it was more like, it was like flour. The heroin itself was like a flour form.
It's like white. Is it a white powder? Is it a black
Sometimes it
powder?
was white, sometimes it was brown.
Okay.
It would depend on the concentration, I guess. Sometimes it was white, sometimes it was brown. But it's in that form. And then you put it above the aluminium foil, and then you burn beneath. So when you burn under the aluminium foil, it melts. When
And
it melts, it creates steam. It creates like
the
the
smoke.
smoke. And then when it creates the smoke, you start pushing it in.
Inhaling it.
Inhaling it using the pipe that you have. So you follow it. If you put it here, you burn it. As it melts, it goes down. The same, you bring the pipe back again, you do the same process until it's like done.
And you've inhaled all the
You
vapors.
inhaled all of it.
Yeah.
I would say. So I would see that, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
Like the way they were like using it and all of that. And there was an alternative where other people who I was seeing another option that could mix it with a little bit of marijuana. That's why I was like, why not do something that I'm familiar with at least? Because I was already familiar with marijuana itself. And I mixed it. We started mixing it. They were calling it cocktail. We could mix it, and after mixing it, you would get heights, of course, that are longer and different from the heights of marijuana alone. But also the longevity and how fast it hits you, like in how long does it take for the substance itself, for the heroin, to get into your system, all the height, all the euphoria, to get into your system. It could take longer, and it could come mixed with, of course, the paranoia of marijuana. So it's a different feelings, because now you have two different substances that are reacting differently
In your brain.
in your brain. So it could give you that longevity from the heroin, but it could give me personally the paranoia from the marijuana. And it could take longer, and it could smell. It could smell really bad. So that's how I progressed now
to remove the middleman, to remove the marijuana,
the marijuana,
and go straight
to the, that's how I went now straight to heroin. And when I started heroin, before, like, it was sour. It was really, really sour. It's really sour in the mouth, on the tongue, that sometimes you are always speeding, and and a lot of different things, because it's really, really sour. It's really, really sour. That's how I got to using aluminium foil this time. But aluminium foil, the difference was it could hit you straight away.
So you went back to the aluminum foil that you had tried to avoid the first
Yeah,
time.
I had tried to avoid, because now this was another experience that did not have a middleman, as you mentioned it, and they could like hit you straight away and avoid the marijuana part.
I'm curious, if you can recall, what was the duration from the very first time you smoked a joint of marijuana to the very first time you smoked pure heroin?
To be honest, there is not even 3 months. It was
Wow.
like a rampage, as I said.
90 days.
It
to
wasn't.
start,
It
you were-
wasn't even 3 months. I wouldn't even say. I think it's way before. I think I was in clubs like this time and going just for drinks, and after like 2 months, I was already a junkie.
Wow.
I had already started selling things. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was it happened really fast that I myself, I wasn't even aware
that it was happening
of the
to you.
momentum and magnitude of the magnitude, I mean, that it had, and the effects that it was making on me. And a lot of people do not know this, but the character change once you start using is inevitable. It's inevitable. Other people will realize that you're not okay, something is going on, but you yourself, you're not realize it until you get to this day where you skip and you get sick. A lot of people find it in different ways. For me, it was more like I got sick, I went to the hospital, I was maybe
Sick? What do you mean when you say sick? Sick of what?
I woke up not feeling well.
So you had been using
I had been using for like 4 days.
4 days from the heroin.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days.
And at that time, had you stopped going to school?
No, at
You
that
was-
time I was still going to school.
So you'd still be able to go to
yeah.
class,
True.
read.
True. Even the I think the first semester cuts were done, and the I think the first semester at that time were even ending, and I was even I did not even have a retake, surprisingly.
So just so I understand,
Yeah.
this was first semester of university?
True.
Oh,
First
wow.
year, first semester.
Wow.
First year, straight to it. Yeah, it was first year, first semester. And that I got to a point where, I was using, and I was using now this time heroin, which I was using on aluminum foil. And I used it for we used it because we were a group of friends. They were even chilling at my place most of the times because, I still had this kind of dignity and self-respect. I did not like staying in the junkies a lot, in the junkie houses, what we used to call junkie houses.
Yeah.
When my place was there, it was safer, it was clean at least. So I did not like staying there. I somehow thought I was superior to others. I was superior to the people who were living there because they were shabby. Of course, there were people who had been on substances, different substances, methamphetamine, which is crystal meth, heroin, and crack cocaine for 6 years, 10 years. There was even someone in the junkie house who was on 30th year.
30?
Yes.
30 years, wow.
Yeah. So it was at my place most of the times. This time it had not yet progressed. That's why I was still I was a functioning junkie. Means were there because the money was there a little bit. Of course, I could still lie without consequences. If maybe I ran out of money or anything, I could maybe put in money lending something of mine that I had there. And this is actually something serious. A lot of people do not realize. People in Kampala know it. They are people who made businesses to profit from.
Wait, so let's talk about lending. So let's say you needed money to buy whatever you needed to buy. Yes.
And then you give them something.
You'd go to a place, money lenders.
Yeah. Yes.
You need money, so you'd say, maybe hold my TV.
My computer, specifically.
Hold, and I'll bring you your money in 5 days.
5 days.
So they'll give you the money.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you know what they tell you? They tell you when you like exceed, they tell you, oh, it's okay, you can bring it tomorrow. Because they know what they're doing. Now, it will after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks when you go there, you'll find that the amount you owe them is even more than the amount the computer is worth itself. For example. That's true.
So they're predators.
They're predators, and they know, and they can tell that, of course, you will not be able to refund this kind of money in time. So why not? It's like they survive on that. I saw it with my own eyes. It's like the business that they run. And they even rush to give you money, but they give you little money because they know you are in a crisis, because they have saw people like you before. You're not the first person, you're not the second, you're not even the last.
You're not special.
You're not special, exactly. So it's a complex. It's like an ecosystem. It's like an ecosystem. Yeah.
Around that area,
around that area.
They're the drug ups. It sounds like
it's not only the dealers that survive on the addiction epidemic.
It's even the people who run the houses. So because obviously those addiction dens, someone is paying rent for them.
Of course.
Then there's also, I'm assuming, even the police from that area.
Corruption.
So, and this is all in that one area of Kansanga, around the National University, at the Kampala International University.
True.
That is. So, we go back. So, on day 4, you said that you fell sick.
Yeah, I fell sick on day 4. Was it day 4, day 5, something like that? But it had not been a week yet since I was using the aluminum foil. And then when I woke up in the morning, I slept really fine because I had used. And then when I woke up, I wasn't feeling well.
When you say you went,
I had fever, I had chills, abdominal pain, and I was like shaking. I was shivering. I was cold this moment. In another minute, you're hot. All of that, I was like, this is malaria. This is malaria or something. I went to the hospital, and they were like, you don't have malaria. So they just put like some drips, and I waited, and it did not fix anything. And they were like, maybe it's flu. And I remember this particular woman looked at me, and it was like, because my bones had started coming out because of the usage of crack for a long time.
So you were not eating?
Yeah, you don't eat. You don't have appetite, to be honest. You don't have appetite at all. It's not like marijuana. People that use marijuana eat a lot. People that use crack and heroin, they do not eat. If you eat something, you bring it back.
You throw up?
You throw up, yeah. I was throwing up. You throw up even when you're using the heroin itself because it's sour. It's very sour in the throat, so you keep... everyone has to always have something there.
Like a bucket.
Like a bucket, yeah, true. So that's what happened. And
the woman saw you, yeah?
This woman saw me, and she was like, how old are you? And I said how old I was, and she was like, onya omugo treaty, like do you use
Heroin.
heroin? Because probably she was in the area, she had saw that before or something. I was like, no, what is that? You know, I was like, no, what is that? No, I've never used that. She was like, then you have to like we have to get some extra labs and check if there is nothing wrong and all of that. And I was blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is taking long because I was hurting really bad. So I remember I went back home and I was supposed to go back home, get dressed, call my mom and be like, I'm going to a hospital. I'm feeling really, really sick. But my friends were always there. I would say my house was a civilized junkie house. A junkie house for the civilized or the people that were my age. And when I got there, they were smoking and I was like, can I have a line? And they were like, get a line, man. I remember there was this Eritrean guy. I don't want to say his name. He saw me and he was like, those are withdrawals, man.
He actually said
those are
that.
Takis. Yeah, he was like, those are Takis, man.
Takis.
Yeah, we call them Takis. Those are Takis, man. Take a line. And I remember I took a line and everything, just one single line, one single good line, and everything stopped right away. Everything. That's when I was like, yes.
You were
I'm
happy?
there. No,
or were you thinking?
I wasn't happy. I was like, yes, I am there.
I'm now
Yeah.
everything that I thought I could not be.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I feared the most because they used to have withdrawals in front of me and I would think they're acting up. They want to get some money, extort some money out of me so that they could use. They could get sick, do all of this kind of behaviors. And I would say, those are junkie behaviors, man. Take it somewhere else. You cannot manipulate me and all of that. And that time, I remember I took a line and literally I brought some tears in my eyes because I was like, now I've become what I thought I would never become. What I hate, exactly. And it was like somehow a revelation to me and a realization that this is wrong. In everybody's head, they will be like, okay, you would have stopped from there then. But now the heroin itself changed the purpose it was serving. It was serving the purpose of relaxing me. Now
That's what it was. It used to do before.
Yeah,
it used to make you feel good.
Exactly. And now this time, it's a medication.
It helps you stop the pain.
Withdrawal symptoms. What they call TACI, it's withdrawal symptoms, the pain. And it's it's not just the pain alone, also the embarrassment that comes with it. Because you do the throwing up, and even some people even do some other things. Everywhere you have a hole has to do something.
So diarrhea,
all of that.
Those are the symptoms of the withdrawal.
Withdrawals, yes. So instead of taking that embarrassment, you'd rather use. And also, recovering is not easy because you cannot, it's hard to stand the withdrawals. It's pain and all of that, but also there is this psychological aspect that comes with it and emotional, where now you start realizing everything that you've lost and the person, you start missing the person that you were and this nostalgia of the childhood and all of that.
So you're thinking about these things.
Yeah, you're reminiscing, and it's now you realize that you're no longer the person you used to be. And it's even harder when you realize that, unfortunately, you will never be the same. It's hard to be the same. You've already used. Because to me, honestly, when I was here in Rwanda, the people that were using heroin, I feared them. I feared them. So I was like, okay, now I'm like them. Now I start mirroring everything that I pictured them to be upon myself in a reflection. And how the society, back when I was part of the Rwandan society, how I used to see them with my mom, with other people, and now I'm the person in
those shoes.
In the question, yeah. So that's when I started using heroin now to self-medicate, and I was like, maybe I will wake up one day and I will just quit. Withdrawals will be just for 3 days and they'll be done. I tried that, it didn't work. I tried the first day, the second day the withdrawals were crazy.
So walk me through this, right?
Yeah.
So after about day 4, day 5, you realize, oh my goodness, I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
Then you start taking the heroin almost as a painkiller.
Yeah, as a painkiller, sure.
Then when did you then, so these are the real days that this is happening. When do you then say, you know what, let me try to heal myself? When did you try to go cold turkey?
I would say when I said it was like a few days after that incident. I was like mentally preparing myself. Of course, I was using, but also mentally preparing myself to like quit and do all of that. And I went cold turkey. It did not go well. I hated the experience of the cold turkey.
What happened?
It was horrible. You have diarrhea. You can't control. You are constantly, you have chills. You're shivering. You are sweating. You have like flu-like symptoms as well. You have headache. Your tummy is hurting as well. It's like it was an intense feeling, like sense of pain that I couldn't resist. And I was like, okay, I will go to a rehabilitation now, or I will do this, or I will do this, or I will things like that. And what happened was, I don't know how my mom knew about it. I think she told me that friends told her, blah, 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 that I wasn't the same person. Some friends, of course, that I introduced to her before, not the junkie friends. They told her that because she couldn't get a hold of me.
So she was now trying to look for you.
Yeah. It was even before she could like to actively try to look for me. It's like checking on me. It's checking on me. And I remember one of the friends told her that I was now using. When she called me, I denied it. And I remember she came at my place. She sat there and she was like, you know what? You have to go to Utabika.
That is a mental hospital.
Yeah, it's like
Kampala.
Ndera. It's Ndera. It's like Ndera, but the version of
in Kampala,
Uganda. What happened was she came and she was like, now you have to go to Utabika. And I was like, Mom, no, I'm not going to go to Utabika. Please, I cannot go there. She was like,
why did you feel that way?
Because I was seeing people that have been into the rehabs every day that were going and they were coming back. And part of the reason was because I was still in denial of
how sick you were.
Not wanting to be classified as that much of an addict. You know, I've already realized somehow, now I have an issue, I have a problem, but then I am not that
person.
I'm not that person yet. And I remember she was like, okay. That time she left me. We did not go there. But after that, I went now on a rampage where now I stopped like talking to her completely. I cut off connections completely. I lost my house a few days after.
You were
that
not
time.
paying rent.
Yeah, I wasn't paying rent, and it wasn't even about paying rent. It was also about like literally everything that was in the house was going out. Some friends stole me. Some of the things I put myself in the money lending. Others that I don't know. It was like whole different scenarios that were happening at the same time, that it brought me to a point where I lost like literally everything that I owned, and the few things that were there, they were locked inside the house. So I couldn't say that I've lost the house. You know, I couldn't say that now I've lost the house. I pretended as if everything was still going on as it's supposed to. I pretended like I was still studying, regardless that I had now quit for the second semester. I never went for the second semester. And I shifted from the place where I was living in Kansanga. I went now to another place called Namongo. And there in Namongo, there were also other friends who we were using together, who were residing there. They were also refugees from Eritrea. And I was now living with them. So when my mom came back, she had made up her mind, and she was coming to take me to the rehabilitation, to the psych ward, Butabika. She couldn't find me there.
In Kansanga.
In Kansanga. She tried the older friends that I had. They couldn't find me anywhere. I did not have a phone.
You'd sold it.
I think I never sold anything. I put it in money lending. I still had this kind of attachment.
So
I wish I would have sold them so that I would actually get at least its value back. But I still had this attachment and also denial. I always felt like I am still a good person. You know, it's just a moment or a situation right now that is happening to me that is going to like
it's going to
resolve in like 1 day or 2 days or something. And that's when I went to Namongo, things escalated. I was basically this time homeless. You know,
where are you staying?
With those guys that I was couching at their place with the other friends who were also using that could come to my place, the Eritreans. I went to their place and we could literally, I did not know if it was Monday or Sunday. The few things that I had remaining, the clothes and stuff, we were hustling them every day.
Hustling, you mean?
Like selling them in Namongo. Until my mom looked for me. She looked for me. She got to a point where she went to see the person. I don't know how she got the news that I was somewhere in that area. She got a number of the LDC. LDC is like the person in charge of local. It's like local community.
Like the head of the Kagari or the Murenje.
Yeah, exactly. Or not the Murenje even. It's like
Nyumba
a Kagari, Nyumba Kumi, something like that. And she called him and she was like, I've lost my child, and he works with this kind of guys, and they are using drugs and all of that. And I remember the LDC came, knocked, we opened the door, and we're like, all of these kids were like lined up. I was skinny almost to death. I'm still not even big. Imagine I was even worse. I was like skinny, and it was like, who is the Munyarwanda here? I was like, not me. Check with everyone else. And they asked another Burundian guy that I was with, and they asked everybody. The Munyarwanda couldn't be found. But he was like, this place, probably these guys do drugs, but everybody thought it was like marijuana or something, because we looked very young, and somebody could pity us, honestly. Until this one day, they came and knocked on the door, and they arrested all of us in Namongo police station. You know, Namongo, that place called Namongo. There's a police station right above called in Kisugu. So they arrested all of us, including the guards, everyone that was in the house.
Arrested for what?
For using. For using. And they did not know the drugs we were using. And I remember they took one side bag that was in the house and even put some marijuana inside the bag. And nobody in that house was using marijuana at that time. We were all hardcore junkies. So when they came, like, we made sure that everything is, like, we threw everything literally. There wasn't even a smell, because heroin does not smell that long in the house. So I remember on a foreign, one after another, on a line, we were like, how many? Six, seven, around there. They just put us there, the girls and the boys, they put us there. And then I was like, maybe they were like, tomorrow they will take us to Rosita or somewhere else, another prison or something. And they started negotiating. That's how crazy it was. I was like...
Negotiating? Who's there? The police?
The police. They started telling us, call your parents, call your parents, call your parents. And everybody was calling their parents. And I was like, hell no. I'm not going to call my parents. No, I'm not going to call my parents. I knew my dad would kill me, straight up. I knew my mom would say, maybe because of how she had been looking for me, she would say, I'll stay with him, or take me straight to the rehabilitation that I did not want to go to. So I just showed them my student card, and I was like, tomorrow I have a cut and I don't do drugs. You don't do drugs? Sit there, we'll see about that. And I remember they called us around, they came to pick us around 8 or 9-ish. No, in the evening. And it was around 3 a.m. We were freezing cold. Withdrawals had started kicking in. And all of us, and I was with this tiny kid as well, called Nimrod. It was something like 15 or something. It was very, very young. And we were all shivering, and it was crazy. And I remember this policeman told the guards, call your mom to bail you out. Straight up, like that. I remember their mom came, the mom of the guards. There were 2 siblings that we were with. Their mom came. I don't know if it was pity or something, because we're all like looking like this. Maybe she thought I was part of the Eritrean group, or I don't know. It's like, and I was with this Burundian guy, me, 2 Eritrean guys as well, and 3 guards. And their mom came, and she was like, I want all the kids. She paid for all of us. All of us. And now, going back to the house, the landlord has evicted
all of you.
All of, like, the kids, the Eritrean kids that were residing in that, like, police commotions and all of that. And now I was for the first time, completely homeless. Moving in and out of junkie houses now. In and out, in and out, in and out. Until this one day, my mom came, she caught me and took me to Utawika.
She caught you?
Yeah, she caught me. I don't know where she came from. We were walking, me and those 2 and other 3 Eritrean guys. She came behind in a taxi cab, and then they stopped, and all of a sudden I felt somebody grabbing my arm like this. And it was my mom. I started now fighting with her. And I remember there was this other man that she had came with, who was her friend. At that time, I did not even know him. I did not know who he was. I was like, okay, now it's over. They came, put me in a car, straight to Butavika. Straight. Not doors were locked. We did not even say a word along the journey. And I remember I had a pipe. I had a pipe of crack here, and I had also some heroin on me. They did not even check my pockets yet. We went, when we reached at Butavika, they got me out of the car, and I kind of like touched my pockets, and I threw the things that I had behind, and I went straight to the testing room. And this is the reason why I couldn't stay in Butavika, even at that time, because I heard the news before. As you walk in Butavika, this is like private wing. On your left is a public wing. So public wing, they mix people with usual mental illnesses, with drug addicts, with everything is mixed. You find people naked, others are hungry, are like asking for food within the fences and all of that. And that was a private wing, a wing of bougie kids, radios in green uniforms. They are in open shoes and long socks. And I was like, okay. They took me to the private wing. I remember she had paid. I don't remember how much, but it was a lot. It was a lot that she had paid for me to stay there. They took me to the testing. The results came with a listing of like 2 drugs, of course, that I was using, the crack cocaine and heroin, because this time we're using crack to mix it, like, you know how usually in Rwanda, like for celebration, for celebratory, you just take some heroin and you boost it with a little bit of crack, but then the drug of choice is now heroin. So, and I remember the psychologist, when I entered, the first thing that happened when I entered, I saw like pretty much like 3 Sudanese that I know. And they were like, yo! And I was like, I told my mom, I was like, no, I don't know them. We look alike, Rwandese look alike, you know, I don't know all of those guys. But I knew them and we knew each other. And we went to the office and they were discussing all the options. And then the first week you had to sleep when they are observing you so that you don't get into a shock, because withdrawals can be sometimes dangerous for people who are like so much into, who have severe withdrawal symptoms, or who have used for a long time, depending on how they have been using. And my mom was like, stay with him. I remember they were discussing like at least 3 months and all of that. And I told my mom, if you leave me here, I remember I told her, if you leave me here, I will hate you for the rest of my life. I think I pulled this manipulation trick. I don't know how it worked, but I was like, I promise you, I'm going to be a good kid. I'm going to be all fine. Everything is going to be okay. I promise you, I promise you. And what happened was we came out of that room and I did not get hospitalized. She said, okay, now you promised that you're going to live with me now. So we went to live together, because she was working in Kampala at that time. So we went to live together. The next morning I was nowhere to be seen.
She woke up and you were gone.
Withdrawals were hitting me really bad, and now I had left. So when I left, she also started looking for me again, the same process. And I remember it got to this point where I was like pretty much tired. I had lost everything and all of that. And I came by myself and I was like, now I want to go home.
After how many days out?
Like a week. I think it was like, because I did not have any means at this point. You know, I was even in one cloth. So I came And I remember we came together to Rwanda. Straight up, we came together to Rwanda, me and my mom, landed in Kigali. And after like the first day, the second day, the third day, withdrawals were hitting me. They were crazy.
Did your mom know about these withdrawals and how to handle them?
I had now said honestly what I'm dealing with, because I had decided to come home. So when I came home, of course there was the shame. School has stopped. The environment there, everybody was quiet at home. My dad, my mom, everyone. And I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything. And I remember the shame like bothering me more than even my withdrawals, to be honest.
It was more painful.
Yeah, it was more painful than the withdrawals themselves. That it got to a point where I smuggled myself back to Kampala.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You went back.
I went back.
You said, Kampala. I don't want to be home anymore.
And at that time, we had some issues with Uganda.
That was around what? 2018?
2019. It was 2019.
When they had closed the border.
Yeah, I remember it was 2019 in August. 2019 in August.
So the land borders are closed, Gatuna is closed, Chanika is closed, Kajitumba is closed.
Exactly. And I did not have, of course, the means to board myself a plane. Nah. So this is what I did. I told my mom that I'm going to resume my studies, that I don't want to be left behind, all of this. Of course, nobody was agreeing with me. None of them. And I passed by the north. We found somebody to smuggle us, me and another person that wanted to go to Uganda for their own reasons. They smuggled us. And then we branched to Kisoro.
So wait. So you were at home with your family. You want to go back to Kampala. Your family does not want you to go.
Yeah, true.
You're not working at this point.
I'm not.
So where's the money coming from to even think of traveling?
You hustle. I was in hustle mode.
So what do you mean?
Stealing, lying, manipulating to get the money. You know, to get the money. Anything borrowed from friends. I remember when I came back, I probably had like a debt of like 10 million Rwandan francs.
Wow.
When I came back like in Rwanda. Because there were those friends that knew me when I was still okay. And they had stayed here. And what I would do is that I would tell them that maybe an emergency has happened and blah, 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 and all of that. And they could give me the money. And some of them even went at home and they couldn't. They were like, could you please actually provide us with the number he used to call you? Because we haven't seen him in a while as well. We are looking for him. So.
Do you remember how much you borrowed to go back to Uganda?
Oh, I don't remember the exact number, but I had enough to take me to Kampala only.
So that would be maybe
something. It was
50,000?
Like, it wasn't even 50. It was like 40, 30, 40 around there. Because I think we gave the guy, the smugglers, 20K. And I boarded a Jaguar from Kisoro. Because from here we went by the normal bus, and then they took us to Musanze. After Musanze, there is the border is called Chanika, and then you branch. You are seeing like the border there, but then you branch from here, and then you go across, and then you find yourself in Uganda.
So you smuggled yourself into Uganda?
I did not smuggle myself. Somebody smuggled me. I did not know the routes. Yeah, and I got to Uganda, boarded a Jaguar, straight to Kampala. Straight to Kampala. And when I got in Kampala...
What was the plan?
So this was the plan. I was like, maybe now I'm going to live like all the other junkies. They were hustling, of course.
Hustling is stealing.
It's not stealing alone. Doing all sort of different ways of cheating and doing whatever just to get the money. It's not, because there were people in the junkie houses who would like tie their legs and act as if they were disabled or lame or something. And then actually, now that I think about it, that junkie house was full of life. Because when you look at it from behind, you're like, those are miserable people. But at night, these people were singing. These people had the life. You can see it. Everybody's coming from their own house, so they're coming to junkie houses. This guy's removing this huge bandage. And at some point, I was like, I thought you were like really disabled or something, and this guy is like completely normal, you know. These girls are also hustling their own ways, you know. They turn to selling their bodies and all of that.
Because that's actually one of the things I was going to ask you is these, because you talked about having young girls among your group of friends, and you know, with young women, the immediate thought is they will sell their bodies to be able to provide for their needs. Is that what was happening?
Not in any of my close circle, but extended, yes, some were doing. But the close circle, most of the kids were, they could get money from their parents all the times without maybe realizing what was happening, because most of them, they could even go back home and they would be taken care of more than we could.
The boys,
because we're fending for ourselves, and the girls would go back home and they would at least give them food, controlled a little bit for one weekend,
and then they'd come back.
It wasn't worse. It wasn't worse like us, the boys. But of course, there were girls who were selling their bodies even cheap to get
whatever they needed,
to get whatever to fix their needs and all of that. There were different type of hustles. Different type of hustles. So I remember when I went to back to Uganda, when I arrived in Uganda, I told my mom that...
you called her?
Yeah, I called her.
That I'm alive?
Yeah, I'm alive. I'm in Uganda and I'm going to study. I promise you that for me, I don't want to like lose my education and all of that. It was like, who's going to pay for you? What's good? I'm like, trust me, I will surprise you. And being a mother, she was like, where are you going to stay? I'm like, I'm going to stay with friends. And the friends that she knew were not people too hard, were something else. And she was like, okay, I will tell you where you can go pick up the key to my house, where the place where she was renting when she was working from Uganda, and I could be residing there. I think she regrets doing that.
What happened?
Yeah. What happened was I got to the house, and for me also it was in a sense of like, okay, I already know I have an addiction, but now let me control it. I thought that I could control it or try to do better. But things were being stolen literally every day from my house.
Who was stealing it?
Me and my junkie friends. You bring a junkie friend. I remember this time I brought this junkie friend and I even gave him clothes. And I don't know how he did it. He put like the iron machine, put it under the clothes that I gave him, and we got in town. He sold it. After selling it, I went back home after the junkie whatever shift, came back home, and I remember I couldn't see the iron, and he is the only person that I had brought there. And I went back to the ghetto and confronted him about it. It was like, you remember when you smoked earlier? I was like, yeah. That's what we smoked for. Yeah. I was disappointed, but I think the anger also came from, at least I wish it was me, not you. Because I don't think that it would have stayed there any longer either with me in the house with whatever that was happening. When my mom came back, she was disappointed. I don't know if even that's the word to use. She was disappointed.
Probably heartbroken.
Yeah, heartbroken, disappointed. Why did I give him the key? Why did all of this? And went back to the old friends, did not show up home because I heard the news that he was coming back, of course. And I was well aware of what I had done. And what happened was I avoided now
Going home.
going home. I remember I started my new year. I skipped my sister's graduation.
So that is in 2019,
That's in
2020.
2019. By the end of 2019, by the end, I skipped my sister's graduation, and I started the new year in the junkie house. I literally experienced fireworks within the junkie house.
This is 2020 now.
This is 2020. It was January 2020.
COVID is about to hit.
And that's the first. Nobody even knew that COVID is going to reach there or anything. What happened was that day when I started the new year, I think that's kind of like the time when everything for me, I felt so empty. When I started the year of 2020, I felt so empty. I felt so depressed. I felt like I wanted to kill myself. I was like on the verge of like suicidal thoughts and all of that because of, it was a loop every single day. Do, use, get withdrawals, hustle, use, get withdrawals, like that. It was a loop, not getting anywhere. I felt really, really bad when I started 2020 that I remember everybody other experienced users were celebrating. I was crying. I was literally shedding tears.
Watching the fireworks and you're
Yeah,
crying.
watching the fireworks, and I felt so horrible how much I've disappointed my family, how my dreams like are completely destroyed, how I am not gonna be the same person. And it was January 1st, 2020, when I felt that way. For the next like 2 days now, I was planning how I should go back home. This time I said, I'm gonna go back home. The first day, I couldn't get the strength. My heart like was racing. Of course, I was thinking a lot, withdrawals, facing the community, facing the people, the old friends that I had disappointed. The 3rd reached.
The 3rd of January.
3rd of January. And the 3rd of January, what I did at around 3-4 in the afternoon, I went, smoked my last hit. Pretty of it, I smoked like heroin of 10K at that time. And that was a lot of heroin. Until around from 4-3 up to 9 p.m. And by that time I had changed the ghettos. I wasn't in Namongo or Kansanga. Now I was in a ghetto in Kisenyi, right beneath the volcano bus park. I was in slippers, a jean, and a shirt, a t-shirt. And I walked from Kisenyi straight to the bus park. And most of the people knew me from the bus park, of course, because they knew my mother as well. When I reached there, I entered in the car, and I was like, I want to call my mom, because I did not have a phone, obviously. I want to call my mom. They gave me a phone. I called her. I was like, Mom, I'm coming home. She was like, I know what you want, and that does not work anymore on me. It can't work. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to give you more money.
Yeah, because she had boarded a plane like a week before, came to look for me. She couldn't find me. She went back home. I was like, Mom, I promise you this time it's like literally serious. I was crying. She was hearing that I was crying. I was like, I know you would go to an extent of even saying that you are killing yourself so that I give you money, but I am not going to give you money. And I remember I told her, don't give me money. Just talk with the conductor. I'll just sit in the car and we'll just drive. We'll just come. And I told her, but because I had used the road of Chanika, I had to go through the same road. And that night, my mom did not sleep. They started the car. We went. I remember I was sitting beside this man. he had the worst experience of traveling that I reached in Barara when I had already started having withdrawal symptoms, what they call turkeys. I was literally throwing up. I had flu from nowhere. I was shivering. I was like everything. I felt like I'm gonna die or something, because obviously my addiction had even progressed, because I had started using a lot. That means that the withdrawals had to be even more severe. When I got to Mbarara, I remember I felt like jumping the car, because they stop in Mbarara when you're moving with the bus, and everybody grabs their chips, drinks. Some people go in the restroom behind. I remember wanted to stop from there and maybe find a junkie house nearby and ask for a line.
You were feeling sick.
Or go back. I was feeling sick. I was feeling horrible. I was feeling empty. I was feeling emotionally done, if I would say, dead, and all of that. But I said no. I did not even have money. Of course, my mom had not given me money to buy even some water on the way. And I had to stay in the car. Everybody went. They brought whatever they wanted to bring. And I was still in the car. And this man, I remember, he complained to the conductor, this guy is bothering me. Like, what's wrong with him? If he's sick, he should not be traveling and all of that. I remember I was pretending that I had malaria and I was going to get it treated in Kigali, blah, blah, blah. But it was all a lie. And the conductor, maybe my mom had told him a little bit, like, watch him or something. My mom was calling literally every 30 minutes. Is he still in the car? Yes, he is. Is he still in the car? Yes, he is. Is he still in the car? Until we reached in Kisoro. We reached in Kisoro around, it was around 5-ish in the morning, 5-ish in the morning, early morning. And when we reached in Kisoro, it was really, really cold. And junkies do not work with water, let alone coldness. I remember the coldness, and it was drizzling a little bit, but it felt like there were spears or bullets or something.
It hurt.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt really bad. And I was in flip-flops. And I remember the conductor talked to my mom about something, I don't know, and all of a sudden this guy came and it was like, they told me that I should help you up with this and this and this. And then that guy took me up the smuggling route again. Didn't touch money yet. Not even a single coin. They trusted the smuggler more than they trusted me. And we went straight, branched the same route, hiding like there's some border patrol. You hide in the maze a little bit, and then once they pass or he gives you a go ahead, you go again. They smuggled me and this other woman. I remember there was other woman with a baby at that time, and we went, got in Rwanda. We boarded this Hia's car. Twegerane. And then this woman, the moment I remember, the smuggler gave me, was it 3K Rwandan francs when we got to Rwanda, according to what he had talked maybe with them. He gave me 3K Rwandan francs. I remember I paid that taxi 500 from, I think it's 500 that I paid from Chanika to
Musanze.
And when we were on the way, I remember this woman who was carrying the baby was like calling in a loud voice. And remember, we did not know the people that we were with in the car, and they were saying, nageze mu Rwanda, nahageze, ungu bamaze kutwambutsa. And I I was like, man, you just want to get me in trouble or something. I've been smuggled. I remember this old man who was behind. He was like, are you mad? Just like, chichika, like,
Keep quiet.
keep quiet. And then I remember I borrowed the phone from her I called my mom, and my mom was like, your dad is in Musanze. Talk to him. I felt like now I'm dead.
Why?
Because I feared my father so much. I feared my father so much. We had never got even to a point that time where we had even sat together and conversed about something. Because the moment when it was about to be that time, I ruined it. When I was growing and all of that. And I told mom, Aranyicha, like he's going to kill me. She was like, no, we talked about it. It's not going to do anything. And I remember we got in Musanze, and he told me to go to Migano Cafe of Musanze. I looked shabby, so shabby. I went to Migano. The moment he set his eyes on me, instead of like being furious and angry, I saw him like seem defeated. The eyes, I like literally saw tears in his eyes for the first time. That's when I realized the extent of where it had gotten. He did not even abuse me or somehow quarrel or harass me or anything. He went straight to the boot of his car and he opened and was trying to look for shoes that could fit, and he couldn't find one because they were like bigger and I was too skinny and my feet are small. And then he bought me a ticket to Kigali. And then I reached to Kigali and there was a family function that was happening in Bugesera. So I went straight to Bugesera. And when I reached to Bugesera, everybody was like, what happened to him? Like, what happened? And I remember my mom trying to cover up for me. She was saying that I had some serious stomach complications, stomach issues that caused me to get sick like that because, of course, I was throwing up, things down, It was the worst period I ever been in. And at that time, I was numb emotionally, to be honest. I was numb. I wasn't feeling anything. Until like a few days later when the withdrawals were like the first day. I remember now I came on 3rd at night. I arrived on 4th, 4th January. That's when I even celebrate my recovery date. And on 4th, that's when we also went to the family function. And then from 4th to 14th, there is 10 days in between. I had been struggling for all of those 10 days to adjust to life. I was insomniac. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything literally. That's when my mom decided, instead of you, like, she was always there. I remember she couldn't even work. She couldn't do nothing. She was always there, like, holding a bucket for me, doing this, doing that.
Holding a bucket, why?
Because of the withdrawal symptoms, I was throwing up all the times. I had severe diarrhea. I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep. It's intense pain. It like traumatizes you, to be honest. And for those 10 days from 4th to 14th, I had not like been completely fine. But at that time, at least I could control my bowel. I could like walk by myself better. And that's when she decided to take me to Ichizere.
What's Ichizere?
Ichizere, it's like a psycho neuro center that it's like a rehabilitation, but also it has another wing for people with mental health illnesses.
Where is it found?
in Kicukiro. It's in Kicukiro. And then when I got to Ichizere, the moment I entered, I don't know why. I don't know if it's judging. I don't know if it's the trauma. I saw these guys and I felt like I know them from somewhere. The PTSD hit like straight away. I saw the look, the faces, the mannerism, the body languages. And I was like, no.
Of the patients or the people who work there?
Of the patients. I was like, I'm not going to stay here. Now, if I stay here, this was my sanctuary. Now I'm going to create, like, to make friends who use now from
You're going to go back into the place that made you sick.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember we went there and we met this psychologist, and he's called Arthur Kundo. I remember his name very well. We introduced, because later on we introduced ourselves to each other. We met afterwards, like 3 years later or 4, and that was fine. And I remember I met him and he was like, withdrawals are really bad. We either put you on like a methadone program to help you.
What's methadone?
Methadone is like a heroin substitute. It's a medicine that is used to control the withdrawal symptoms of heroin, but also it can be used to help people who are recovering in functioning. Instead of using the heroin, they could use the methadone because, of course, it's measured and it's safer rather than the heroin itself, and it's also given to people to control their withdrawal symptoms in general. So we are going to give you withdrawal. We are going to give you like some methadones, do some labs on you, but we can never do that in an unsupervised environment. Because when I went there, I knew what I wanted. I was like, I want some methadone. I thought they're going to give me methadone, and
You go back home.
I go back home. But the reality was methadone is also a controlled substance. So you also have a history of abusing. You cannot be trusted
With that thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember him proposing to my mom that I could stay there for like 3 months and they would be observing me and they will let her know if, because they are the medical practitioners, they are the doctors, they're the one
Who know how to
better.
treat it. Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom and telling Arthur, I was like, I'm not going to stay here. I'm not going to risk the environment that I've just gained that is quite safe, because knowing people was way worse than not knowing them. And I think I was a matured addict enough at that time to realize that it was dangerous for me now to associate with anybody who would use before I take care of my own self before. So that's when I told my mom I'm not going to stay here. And for her, she knew that kind of behavior before from Tabika. She was like, maybe this is going to happen this now. I was like, no, I'm going back home. And I remember I even left her there, and I remember feeling anxiety and fear that, well, if I get to the gate and the security guard has closed, and I found the gate open and I straight left her there. And I told Arthur, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you that now I'm better, now I'm fine. I decided to like recover cold turkey without the substitution and the meds, not because rehabilitations are now better, but because it's important to understand and knowing the environment where you're seeking help from and creating a balance between the two. Because I know people that were helped by the rehabilitation centers and psychiatric centers, but I know people who went there and it also became worse for them. Yeah. So that's how I went back home. I think like after 4-5 days, now it was back to like normal. I was back to normal that time, I remember. Because I remember in February, I gained a lot of weight that it gave me even a complex issue. I was like, now everybody, when I was walking around the neighborhood, I was like, now all the neighbors can tell I was abusing. If you would look at me like for 3 seconds or something, I would be like, he knows. He knows that I was abusing. Yet I think it's shame. I think now that I look at it from a detached perspective. I think it was shame. It was shame. After that time, I thought maybe if the withdrawals are over, everything is going to be done. But to be honest, it wasn't over. It was the start of it. It was like the start of now the real recovering, facing the shame, the stigma, the people abusing you. I remember my mom, one day she lost her phone. Before she could ring it or look for it, she had to call me to see if I'm still there. You understand?
Because she maybe thought that you had...
Exactly. So you understand as now a reformed person who was like, don't you even see that I've recovered cold turkey? It's something hard for a lot of people to do. I've managed it. Won't you respect me for that? And as I grow and mature, I've realized that it wasn't actually about me. It's if you're one addict in the house, the whole family has to heal, and the whole society has to be told.
Let's this whole thing, right? Because it almost sounds like you lived 10 lifetimes. But how long was it from the very first puff of marijuana to the day that you finally said, I have beaten the addiction?
Yeah.
How long was it?
That was something like 1 year and 8 months.
So this whole thing, this whole adventure that you've said,
It's in
I've traveled in and out of Rwanda.
Exactly.
You've gone to Butabika, you've left Butabika, you've gone to Chizere, you've left Chizere. You've lived this whole life
in 1 year and 7 months.
Wow.
I was busy.
You know,
it's like a movie. Literally, everybody who abuses drugs, trust me, their lives, if you document it, it's a movie. It's scandal after scandal, trouble after trouble, fear, shame after shame. It's a lot of things, and they happen at once.
What do you think has been harder for you? Was it, surviving the withdrawal symptoms? Because you've painted a picture of just how terrible that is. The pain, the vomiting, the diarrhea, the mucus running down your nose, the loss of weight, it seems almost nightmarish, the kind of pain that you have to go through.
It's pain, and it's also embarrassing. On the top, you add that because it's embarrassing.
Now, or which one's been harder? Was it surviving those moments?
Shame.
Or was it, rebuilding the life that you lived, rebuilding your identity once you've left the drugs? What has been harder?
To me, the hardest thing was like accepting and forgiving myself and fighting the shame.
Harder than the pain that you went through.
The pain that I went through.
Of withdrawal.
Yes. Because it meant that moment where I wasn't feeling the pain, that is physical, I was dealing with a lot of pain that is emotional and psychological that could actually trigger me to not even acknowledge the progress that I've made with that pain that was physical. So it was really hard for me to rebuild myself, forgive myself, but most importantly, grieve the person, the older version of me that I've lost, because that's never coming back, to be honest. I've lived this life the only thing that I could do is forgiving myself and accepting that what is done is done. You can never take it back. Try to do positively now this time. Try to do better from that. Because all the time that I wasted trying to prove people that I am now the same person that I was before, it never worked. The only thing that works is embracing
The new you.
the new you who has all of this past and experiences, and stopping to deny it and to feeling shame, because I used to feel ashamed, like because of my past I couldn't talk about it, I couldn't whatever, because some people actually will use it to suppress you, or like to shut you off, even in conversations or in scenarios and that are in situations are not related to drugs, because they know you have
That weakness.
that weakness and that history. They will use it to offend you. Like you have a problem with somebody that is non-related, either relatives or some other friends, and they're like junkie behaviors, and all of that. It used to hurt me before, but right now I don't see it that way. And it took me pretty much a lot of years. Now it has been 6 years since I've been clean. And this 6 years, the more another year adds, because recovery is forever. You can never recover.
You're never. What are you saying? What are you saying that?
You are always a recovering drug addict. You are never a recovered drug addict. Because the residue and the experiences and how it used to make you feel still resides somewhere at the back of your brain. That one wrong move could trigger the relapse. So never get comfortable. So that's why there is nothing like a recovered drug addict. That is wrong. That is wrong to say. I used to say it, but right now the way I observe it is more, you are always a recovering drug addict. Forever. Whether you like it or you don't like it is the truth. Because one wrong move. We saw people that went on to relapse after 10 years of sobriety, 15 years of sobriety. Some people even go to extents of 30 years, 40 years when they have been sober for that long, but something unimaginable happens and they snap. Like they get back to, and trust me, relapses are always worse. When you relapse, it's always worse than
The first time.
the first time. Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's one of those things where I wonder how when you talk about being a recovering addict, I think what you've pretty much, from the story that I'm hearing from you, it almost sounds like these drugs, these substances, opened a part of your brain that was not open before.
Yeah, it opens up. Yeah, it opens a portal. It opens
A portal of pleasure, a portal of, and it doesn't close. It's always there because you've said something.
and you self-medicate it. And I want to add this because it's also really important that people know about it. There is something also called cross addiction,
What does that mean?
where somebody has been abusing a certain drug, but because they have already opened that door that you're talking about, and they don't realize, and now they shift to another drug, and they are not aware that the body is used of abusing anything you give it that is connected to pleasure, because that door is opened and uncontrolled, and they can make a cross addiction. Like there is many examples of people who are using heroin and now they are recovering, but then they are abusing
Something else.
Alcohol, for example. Like they have now shifted their focus. Instead of heroin, now they go to alcohol as their coping mechanism, and they abuse it as well, because your brain hasn't rewired all the things it has to rewire for you to feel that comfortable. It probably never will 100%
Become the old
the
brain.
old brain, of course, especially to people who take it before they're 21 years. It's more risky because the frontal lobe, it's not yet
Fully developed.
fully developed and all of that. So
what I'm hearing you say is that actually addiction or taking drugs at a younger age. So the frontal lobe for men, I believe,
it's called
is
gray matter. It's
Yes.
like gray matter.
So it's fully developed at say 25,
Yeah, around there.
around 25. So if I'm not mistaken, what you're saying is that before 25, while your
have
brain
a
is
higher
still
chances of being addicted
so once you do take it,
substances. Yeah,
your brain then rewires and then is fully formed
true.
to need that thing.
Yeah, it rechannels. It's like rechannel it.
So that means it's actually even more dangerous for a young person.
Yeah, true.
Say me, I'm 45 now. If I was to start, maybe my brain, because it's been fully developed all these years,
You wouldn't be exposed to the same risk of addiction as somebody who's younger than you, even 2 years, even 3 years.
and that's why it's very important that young people know these things so that you don't get caught in that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I advise the only way there is a treatment of addiction. People do not know it. It's prevention. As simple as that. That's
Not methadone,
it's not methadone, it's not the psychological centers, it's not the rehabilitations, it's not the witchcraft. They take some kids in witchcraft. I'm telling you, they'd be like, oh, they have now like
demons. This is a
did
demons.
some voodoo or some demons on our child, and instead of literally seeking the right help they need for their children, instead they take them to these witches
or churches or pastors.
churches. They pray for them. We have seen those scenarios. We have seen those scenarios. I have testimonies of peers who went through all of that. So
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
it doesn't work. I would say, this is to be honest, throwing at a wall to see what sticks. There is that idiom. So it's more like there is always not a single way, as we have. It has been determined to treat somebody with addiction. You just do whatever that you can
That works.
to see if it can give them the right push. But one thing I know for sure, the addict themselves are the only ones who can make a decision. Not you, not anybody else. So this is what happens. And somebody think that a person is not a car. You don't take them to a garage. We are complex creatures. We are made of emotions, our past, our experiences, our future ventures, and all of that. That's why some people, they take them to rehabilitations by the luck or by the will of God or by whatever. They also find that heart within rehabilitation centers to change for the better. But it's not because the rehabilitation has done it or the staff, is because the environment itself is confined enough for that person to rethink about themselves, at least make a decision and maybe try to stick on it. But it's not, I don't ever give credits to rehabilitation centers or psychiatrists or anybody if they're not working in the favor of the addict. You don't set the rules for the addicts. You set an environment that works.
In Rwanda, so just before I go to that question, so right now in your life, how have you been able to ensure that you don't relapse? Do you now say, you know what, I don't do alcohol, I don't do cigarettes, do you just avoid any substance that would be what they'd call an addictive substance?
Yeah. No. To be honest, no. I don't avoid substances. I create awareness. That's what I do.
What do you mean?
It's more of like
So do you drink?
listen. Yes, I do. But listen to your body. If your body has a tendency to like make you cross a line, one day it will make you cross that line the second day. So for me, I haven't crossed the line yet with let's say with the drinking, because it's pretty much in control. Maybe pretty much that I haven't had that much of an issue, but nonetheless, it doesn't mean that maybe it does not affect my body in any other way. But addiction wise and psychologically, I don't have a problem with it. But still, there is a high chance that I could be a victim of that. I haven't maybe found the strength yet to completely like say I've stopped like alcohol. I can function. I can do whatever that I want to do. I can be on time. I can deliver the things that I'm supposed to deliver without the hindrance of the alcohol itself. But who knows in the long run? That's the attitude. The attitude, I mean, I go towards with the approach I take towards every single thing now. I'm always
Aware.
cautious and not comfortable. I always tell my mind to be on alert. You know, what if this is,
Takes me back to that
takes
place.
me back to that place. It's not even the fear of going to that place. I'm not afraid of going to that place just because it's bad. I'm afraid of losing myself again. Losing everything that I am now aspiring, the new things that I want to do, and all of that. So what keeps someone going is the future, not the past. So that's why I don't dwell so much on the past, but of course I don't get comfortable. That's the future is the vehicle, the past is the engine. It's more like they have to work together to push you from point A to point B. Otherwise, if one fails, if you don't have a future and you don't remember the past addiction, you'll get stuck. The car will stop. Yeah.
In Rwanda and I think much of Africa, addiction is still treated as a crime or a failure or some sort of moral weakness.
Question of will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. Why are you addicted? Why can't you be a good person? Why can't you? Or you're a criminal, or you're a fundamentally flawed citizen. Now, from your own lived experience, how does stigma actually end up making addiction worse?
That's an important question. I'm going to say I'm going to answer you real quick in 2 points. The first point is the criminalization part. If you criminalize the drugs, for example, and then somebody who maybe saw a future within a certain career in life already has a criminal record upon their names, and they can no longer pursue this career, what happens after?
They have no reason to live.
And because they don't have nothing to lose and the reason to leave, now they keep abusing. It's like you cannot, there is not a dangerous person like a person who is not losing anything.
Who has nothing to live for.
Who has nothing to live for. So that's why criminalization is really dangerous, not even for the addicts themselves, but for the community as well. Because we saw that through this addiction, but because of addiction, the people who are addicted or actively using can do a lot of different things that can affect the society. Of course, there's stealing, there's crimes that are always happening. That's because of criminalization. Another thing, people will not seek help because it's criminalized. How will they see me? What if they arrest me? And it gets to a point where some people are afraid actually to even seek help. Like for people who used heroin and they could inject, there are different experiences of people who gave each other HIV, hepatitis, or these kind of different diseases that can go through shared needles and all of that because they couldn't ask for help of the needles, for example. So criminalization actually becomes a barrier from helping the addicts themselves and reintegrating them back into the community, because the moment you have criminalized an addict, their integration seems like you have
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
You don't.
Yes. And the second thing I want to talk about is, let's say if somebody there are people that have predisposed genes of addiction within their body and their system, who are at huge chances of being addicted to drugs from the moment they were born.
They have addictive personalities.
They did not have a say in this. It's not their will. It's the way they were created. Their biological structure is put together.
I mean, we've seen it with alcohol, right? So some people can drink, have a glass of wine, and after two glasses, they stop.
Exactly.
There are others who, once they start, they cannot
never
stop.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, because there are this position of the genes, it means that if you encounter that person and then you criminalize them, does it mean you criminalize sickness? To be honest, you cannot prescribe prison to patients. That's something we should not even be begging for or anything. That has to be put at the front line of everything as a fact, because if we really want to help this community, we really have to also kind of, because I understand there's the cultural aspect, because also the certain laws that are made in communities and countries are based on family values and cultural aspects at certain level, depending on a country. But we need also to unlearn whatever we have learned, because learning is easier than unlearning what we have learned. But hopefully, I see changes within these 6 years. I can see changes somehow. Hopefully, it even gets better and better and better. But criminalization, if anything, it puts even people who are not addicts at risk.
And now this is my last question, and you've kind of mentioned it in the previous answer. If we as Africans, or we as members of the Rwandan society or the Ugandan society, are actually trying to become serious about reducing addiction and not hiding it. So because we do a good job sometimes of putting the addicts over there,
Yeah, true.
right? And pushing them aside and closing our eyes. We are almost like ostriches who hide their heads in the sand and pretend that everything's all right. But if we're trying to create a society that actually is really trying to reduce addiction instead of hiding it, what do we need to change first? Do we need to change government policy? Do we need to change policing? Do we need to change public language, how we say things? Do we need to change how families respond? And I think fundamentally, maybe even at a larger level, is the idea of a drug-free society even realistic?
The idea is realistic only if two things are taken care of. First, the dealers.
Mm.
I will put an emphasis on this
The dealers.
because the dealers are killers. They're the ones that are benefiting from this, and their benefits comes from hooking as many people. It's like marketing, you know. I did not talk about this, but it's funny how, you know, I couldn't get like, let's say 5K from my mom, but I would go and borrow like 100K from the dealer's place in consuming, and he would be certain that I'm going to bring the money back because he knows I'm hooked. You get it? So the dealers, that's the first thing. The second thing that encompasses all the things that you say, the policies, the government, and all of that. It's education, educating from all the levels. What is addiction? It's funny that you can find the people who are in those governing or authorities part that you can ask what is addiction, and they wouldn't even give you a proper definition of addiction. So I think that's what needs to be done, and decentralizing that education now, and being honest about certain information we give to children, especially children who are still young adults or adolescents.
How young should a child be, do you think, to start hearing that message against drugs?
11.
11.
As long as you are as long as you're a teenager, you are supposed to hear about that, because now you have reached a point where you are trusted enough somehow, somewhat, to at least go at the local shop and buy something and come back home. You see? So, and nobody knows when you send your kid out there, maybe you are giving them access
to the very first dealer.
To the very first dealer, or the very first hit, or the very first, all of these things. So I think it's important that we tell the kids, for example, if I was told that if you take these drugs, you're going to feel relaxed like this, maybe you won't die, but in the long run,
this is what's going to happen.
Yes. Maybe I wouldn't have tried the drugs.
You think so?
Pretty much, if it was honest. Because then if somebody gives you a message like, you're going to die, just, you know, that's a flat message. You know, it's blank. It's like, you're going to die. And then you try it and you don't die. You start actually doubting that message, if anything you've ever been told by them actually was ever true. You understand? So that's why being honest about what is drugs, how do they operate, and also, by the way, because we know that we cannot remove all of these dealers or eradicate all of these dealers, because it's hard, it's not easy. At least give them a space for a turn back, just in case. Give people, like, if it happens, you know, please do this. Because it's pretty funny how we don't consider drug addiction an epidemic.
Is it? Do you think it is?
It's a pandemic. It's a pandemic, and nobody accepts it until it knocks on your door, until it's your sister's friend, or your sister's child, or your child, or your sister, or your sibling, your relative, or your close friend. We never give it value. And I was discussing with my mom, and she was like, I thought that parents that would have like children who were using were bad parents, had a bad parenting mode. But then I realized whatever you would do, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Keep someone with honest and true information about each stage, because then you have at least a chance that if at any stage, if it happens, they know at least what to do. You are keeping them with the knowledge.
No, I you're talking about this, and I'll just give you my little small personal story. When I was young, I remember, I think it was grade 6. This is when I wasn't living in Rwanda, we were living in North America. the police who used to come and give you these messages of say no to drugs, and they would say this is what heroin looks like, this is what cannabis looks like. If I'm not mistaken, I think we were maybe 11 years old. You're right, 11 years old. And they said, say no to drugs. And this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what it does to your brain. And what then occurred was that message of drugs will affect how well you think. That one stuck. That stuck so well that when because I also, at 14 years of age, I was put in a Ugandan boarding school. Now, anyone who knows a Ugandan boarding school, you get to a certain level and drugs exist.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it was cannabis. I would see it, and waraji. It was called kanyanga. Now, because of that message, and of course tobacco, because of that message that I heard when I was 11, by the time I went to high school, I would smoke cigarettes because I thought that was, to be a young man, you have to smoke cigarettes. Then eventually I graduated to alcohol. And of course, my whole thing was I want to be able to drink alcohol without being a drunk. I felt a lot of pride in being able to
manage,
to handle my liquor well. But the one thing that I never did was smoke marijuana. Why? Not because I did not have access to it. No. Some of my best friends smoked right there. Actually, they would smoke after lunch. You know how some Europeans have a glass of wine after lunch or have an espresso? No. We would go behind our dorms and they would smoke 2 spliffs. And then what I would do, I would smoke my cigarettes. And my friends would say, do you want some? I'd say, no, I'm fine.
I'm okay. I'm fine.
I'm okay. And I would not judge them because I thought that was not a problem. But I just remember that message kept coming back, and they're like, you know what? Listen, I don't come from a lot of money. I need to be good at school so that one day I'll be able to do well in the national exams and then go to university and have a good future. That is literally the only thing that stopped me. The messages that I heard at 11 years of age, because my parents never talked to me about drugs.
And they were honest messages.
Yes.
Right? This is this.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
here they hide it. That's the issue. In Rwanda, I tell you, I never saw heroin until I tried it. Like, until I got to Uganda. I had never even saw it. At some point, maybe, I did not even know that it was Mugo.
You thought Mugo was a...
It was just heroin. It became Mugo when I progressed and they started speaking in Uganda or Mugo, because there they call it entreaty a lot.
Sometimes they also call it brown sugar.
It's brown, it's brown sugar. It's all of those names. It's not even Mugo. But then if I knew how it looked, I would be like,
that's what this is.
Mugo.
And this is what is going to happen to me.
Yeah.
No,
we hide. We like to, in order to protect people, we try to hide things.
The information.
We forget that information is key.
And these things are around us.
Yeah, and these things, it's inevitable. Somebody will be at a wrong place at a wrong time, and
they'll see something that they're not supposed to see.
And some people actually try it. This is something people do not talk about. Some people try drugs for the first time and they die. That's also one of the things that people should be aware of. Some people do try drugs and they die. And most of the people actually that die from overdoses are people that have just came straight out of rehabs, for example. Because their body has built now, the tolerance has decreased over time, and they give it the same level of things that they were
used to,
and they're dead. And it does not discriminate. I heard a lot of people say, crack cocaine, heroin, it's like it's for the rich kids. Drugs do not discriminate. They like everyone. Girls, boys, old, young, anyone, rich, poor, it doesn't care. But I know for a fact if you're rich, it will make you poor. For a fact.
I think with that, I think we can end this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing that story. There was a part where I could feel tears coming because I'm a parent and I love my kids more than anything in the world. And I can only imagine what your mom and dad were going through. But I can also imagine as a young man what you're going through, because I've also been in a place where I've disappointed the people that I care about. And it's so brave of you to spread the message, to spread a message of honesty, to spread a message of survival, to spread a message to reduce stigmatization. And you are, I think, a living hero.
Thank you. I'm not a hero.
No, you are. There's to be able to survive.
Yeah, true.
And to now be an artist, to create beautiful things. You know, it's something to be admired, and I'm so thankful that you've found the space in your heart to have this conversation with me. And I'm hopeful, and I pray that even if we can save one child, you know, from that experience, if we can educate one parent,
True.
we would have done our job. This is not a conversation that I'm trying to get views on. This is not, no, this is, it can literally save someone's life.
Save someone, yeah, true. It can. And if you are a parent and you have a kid who, you know, is going through the addiction, just know you don't have to give up yet. It's hard. It's really hard, but then it's a journey that has to go on and on and on and on. Because I know parents already that are grieving kids who are alive. You know, they have already grieved them. Like, now if something happens, if anything, like, you don't even see tears or anything. And parents also need, I think this message is really important, to be honest about the cause of death of their children. We have a lot of friends whom we went to their barrios and we knew it was
An overdose
or complications related to drugs. And they were saying it's a headache. They would say it's this. And I remember my mom this time was crying when one of my friends died after I recovered. And when we went to the barrio, they were saying that she had a headache or something, and it was an overdose. I think this kind of, the way we try to hide, we don't save anyone. It actually, if anything, it makes it worse. So,
Steve,
let's heal, let's learn, let's unlearn as well. I think it's a long journey, but information is key. True.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Thank you as well.
Thank you, BK Arena, for providing a venue for the long-form podcast to record. BK Arena is Rwanda's leading multi-purpose venue and the go-to destination in Kigali for world-class events. Known for hosting international concerts, major sporting events, high-level conferences, and large-scale productions, BK Arena offers premium event venue alongside modern conference and meeting rooms designed to global standards. From corporate gatherings to cultural and entertainment moments, BK Arena is where Kigali hosts its biggest experiences. Keep up with them at BK Arena on socials and visit their website, bkarena.rw.